Last night, the SEC denied Grayscale's application to turn GBTC, the world's largest Bitcoin fund, into a spot Bitcoin ETF. That denial isn't necessarily surprising to many market participants, but it did lead to a chain reaction. Grayscale almost immediately started the process to sue the Securities and Exchange Commission. If we go ahead and we take a look as to why Grayscale is doing this and what their argument is, we can see here clearly they've stated that Grayscale and their team of lawyers that the SEC is failing to apply consistent treatment to similar investment vehicles and is therefore acting arbitrarily and capriciously in violation of the Administrative Procedure Act and the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. There is a compelling common sense argument here, and they look forward to resolving this matter productively and expeditiously. Now, of course, no one knows exactly what's going to happen, but CEO Michael Schunnenstein was on CNBC this morning, and he was asked, why are you suing the SEC, and what do you expect to come of this? Here's what Michael had to say.
Is there a precedent for this sort of action to sue the SEC for a rejection?
Well, Melissa, it's been a busy 12 hours for the Grayscale team. Of course, last night getting the SEC's decision, we were, of course, very disappointed. But as an organization, we were ready. Regulators do get sued, and it does happen frequently. Last night, after receiving the SEC decision, our attorneys almost immediately filed a petition for review with the appellate court in D.C., and that starts the litigation process contesting the SEC's decision, which we, of course, vehemently disagree with.
What is the core thrust of that suit?
Well, we've laid out these arguments throughout the last couple of months leading up to this decision, really looking at the fact that the SEC is acting arbitrary and capricious by continuing to approve Bitcoin futures-based ETFs while continuing to deny spot Bitcoin ETFs. And when you look at the Administrative Procedure Act, which is really what governs the way that regulators have to govern, they have to be treating like issues alike. And in this case, they're not. They're actually discriminating against issuers like Grayscale who are trying to, bring a product further into the U.S. regulatory perimeter here.
Now, I think a big takeaway from this entire process is obviously the Grayscale team and their lawyers. They feel very, very strongly that they've got a common sense case here. The SEC, on the other hand, they feel pretty strongly that they actually are in the right in denying this application. Grayscale, obviously being the largest Bitcoin fund in the world, has a lot at stake. There's about $8 billion or so that is currently caught in the discount from the price of their shares to the NAV of the fund. And that's why Grayscale wants to convert it. And there's a lot of questions the SEC still has. Now, one of my big takeaways from this entire thing is that the United States of America, we have a legal process, and that's what we're going to see play out here. Grayscale feels like they're being wronged. They're going to go into a legal court of law, and they're going to make their case. The SEC likely will show up as well and make their case, and a judge is going to have to make some decisions. The court of law is a really important part of the American legal system. It obviously allows for people to come, present their case, and ultimately have someone interpret how the law should be applied. The SEC has already approved Bitcoin futures ETF and a short Bitcoin futures ETF. Why they haven't applied the same exact logic to a Bitcoin spot ETF is the main question in this case. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And I think there's a lot of people on both sides of the issue that have very strong feelings as to how the law should be interpreted and why either the SEC is right or wrong. Keep your eye on this case as it continues to play out, and we'll keep talking about it because ultimately the largest Bitcoin fund in the world getting converted will have implications on the market. I don't know how this is going to end, and neither do either side of the issue. But my guess is when this issue gets to finality, it will have an impact on the market because it'll signal either a new regulatory regime, a new way that the regulators are looking at this asset, or it will signal a continuation of where we already have been. And that is one of some regulatory uncertainty, which a lot of market participants hope will eventually change.
Hey you, did you like this video? Great, we make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.